Now in the article below, I have put the extended version of the Marcus by Goldman Sachs review article. So I wrote this article a few months ago, but it was actually extended 1 week ago. And I'm going to summarize the article on today's video. So basically, if you look at the positives about Marcus by Goldman Sachs, it does pay a bit more than the average savings account out there. Moreover, it is easier than some savings accounts to open up. Not as easy as maybe something like a pure tech solution, like maybe a Revolut savings account, if something like that is linked to apps. However, it is quite easy to set up. But I think the biggest negatives about the account are this, that number one is kind of trading on brand name. I think the fact that it's a big name is actually a negative, not a positive. Like for me, I'm always turned off by names that are too big because I think they're trading on that brand name. But more importantly, even if they weren't trading on that brand name, in the world we live in today, realistically, cash is only good for short-term emergencies because cash pays close to 0%, below inflation. It seems like interest rates are going to stay at 0% for 5 or 10 years or longer, having already been at 0% for 12 years. So you're practically guaranteed to lose money, which means there's no incentive to keep a lot of cash. So using a solution like this is fine for small amounts of money, but for larger amounts of money, it really makes no sense at all, because regardless of whether they pay slightly higher or slightly lower than the average, it just means that you're going to lose slightly less to inflation. And of course this compounds, right? Because let's say you're going to invest £100,000, just let's say you're in the UK, and inflation runs at 2 or 3% and you're getting 0.7%. You won't notice that, even though that's 1.52% loss to inflation over a year. But over 10 years, 20 years, you could be losing 30% or more to inflation, because of course it all compounds. I mean, look at it this way. Imagine if interest rates have been close to 0% for the last 30 years. And somebody who put their money in the bank was getting close to 0% for the last 30 years rather than the last 12 years since the economic crisis. You could imagine how much people would have lost. So in the environment we're in now, basically it makes no sense to keep a lot of money in the bank. But if you want to keep small amounts of money in the bank, it's a perfectly fine solution, basically. Okay, everyone, I've got some really exciting news today. So for a couple of years now, many people have asked me, well, look, I can't afford your minimum investments, but I really like your advice. I don't know if you can do this or you can do that, or you can help me in that way, or you can't help me in that way. I've always said, no, I can only do this or that, but I've got some really exciting news, and that's that in a couple of months before the end of the year, I will be bringing out what I'm calling the Adam Fayed Academy, which will have many new areas which will be of interest to people. So things like mentoring, tutoring, all those kind of things that people have asked me for in the past. So stay tuned. I'm going to be announcing it in the next few months, but I thought I would tell it to you guys before. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you're looking for in this academy. We're going to be focusing on many different areas, including how to invest productively, also some business areas, because that's another thing people have asked me about before. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you up to date.